Oh, hello there, ladies and gents. You caught me drinking in front of the tree. I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas, and in honor of this holiday season, I would like to talk about a game that has absolutely nothing to do with Christmas. I mean, it's got like some snow, and you, you know what? It's not even worth it. Not even gonna bother. Okay, that's better. The game in particular that I'm talking about is, oh Jesus Christ. The game in particular that I'm talking about is The Long Dark. And for those who don't know, The Long Dark came out officially earlier this year, and it's a sandbox survival game where you are trapped in the northern Canadian wilderness and you have to, survive. Unfortunately for you, neither the animals nor the weather follow the normal Canadian stereotype. That is to say, they're not very nice and you're gonna die. Now, I know what you're gonna say. Wow, another survival game? I bet it's in early access too. What is this, 2015? But here's the deal.io. This one is special and pretty and gonna fucking cool. When you think of the horrid outbreak of survival games in like the early mid 2010s, what do you think of? You gotta eat and drink, there's zombies and base building. Well, only one of those things are in The Long Dark, and let me tell you, it isn't the goddamn zombies. The problem I have with a lot of survival games is that they're just not survival games. Like, take Rust, for example. Like, sure, the first, day or two, you'll be trying to find a steady food and water source, but after that, it just basically becomes a first-person version of The Sims, where you're more concerned about where to place the fucking couch than you are about getting your basic needs met. But even then, it's not even that, because now you have a bunch of other players running around, so now you're worried about how to place the couch in the exact right way so that you can glitch out that one chest to make sure no one else can loot it. And all of the base designs end up being the same anyway, because it's not about creativity, it's about following the meta to make sure your base doesn't get looted. I like to break down survival games into three basic categories. There's looting survival, which is like kind of your Rust and Unturned, where, they're most of the time they're online multiplayer, and you just gotta worry about all these other kids trying to break your shit. And then second, there's creative survival, where, like, the main focus of the game would be on exploration and building and crafting. This is kind of like your Minecraft. And then there's the last category. Finally, there's random bullshit survival, where the game developers have become self-aware and realize their game is just like any other survival game out there, so they need to add some random bullshit into the game to distinguish themselves from the competition. I'm sure for these games they're just thinking, oh, God, we need something to set ourselves apart. I got it. Let's add zombies. Let's add cannibal. Let's add fucking dinosaurs. You may have noticed that Just Survive Survival is not on this list, and that's just because it doesn't exist. Like, what the hell? But then The Long Dark came along and said to all the other survival games, hey, I'm going to show you how survival's really done. And then we got this wondrous masterpiece called The Long Dark, and it's beautiful. But what makes it so special? Well, your goal in this game is to just survive. That's it. There's no random bullshit, there's no building, there's no looting or online PvP element. It's just very simply like, make it to the next day. Since all the focus has been placed on those survival elements, they turn out to be a lot more in-depth and engaging. You want some water? Well, there's no turtle baskets here. No, you're gonna have to start a fire and build the fire, then you're gonna have to get a pot, and you're gonna have to pack some snow into the pot, then you're gonna have to put the pot next to the fire and make sure the fire keeps going, then you're gonna melt the snow for a while. But if you don't want to get sick, you also want to boil the water, which takes a precious amount of time and calories, and so you're trying to like weigh all these elements just so you can get some water. Yeah, this game is incredibly difficult, and bad decisions are punished. Like, one minute you'll finally kill that deer that you've been hunting for the better part of a day, and you'll go over to harvest it, and you'll say, oh, harvest 3 hours? Why not? and then you'll harvest the deer for 3 hours. You're waiting for the little loading thing, but then, oh god, okay, you see your like little temperature thing going down. You start to panic a little bit, and oh, oops, now you got hypothermia. And you finally get done, and you're kind of freezing, and a blizzard's rolled in while you were harvesting the deer for 3 hours, and now there's, like, you can't see anything, and the blizzard, and the fog, and the darkness, and despair, and oh, a wolf just smelled all the meat that you're carrying, and, you know, it's fine. I'll just lay it down. It's okay. I'll accept my fate. It's fine. But all these mechanics in the game, from hunting to starting fires to the weather, are so perfectly woven together that there's never a dull moment. Even if you've been playing the same save slot for weeks, there's always a challenge to be had. Hell, you can die in the tutorial level if you're too slow and piss around for too long. From ice fishing to just trekking across the zone, there's always plenty to worry about in this game, which is perfect because it really adds value to your character's life. Bad moments like getting caught in a blizzard or snowstorm and getting lost, or getting mauled by a bear, never feel unfair because you know it was your bad decisions that led to that point. On the flip side, finding a new shelter or finding a great new source and stash of food feel absolutely fantastic because the game places so much weight on your actions. Like, this whole entire game is such an incredibly rewarding experience, and I've never felt this good about just getting to the next day in a survival game before. But it doesn't stop there. While we're here, we might as well talk about the beauty and glory that is the art style. I'm sure you've noticed that from the clips and whatnot that I'm showing that this game is we got some good looking piece of stuff here. And if I saw the long dark in a bar, I'd be like, ooh, look at that good looking look at that good looking piece of stuff over there. And then, you know, I would walk over all like casual and nonchalant, and then on the way I would overthink what I'm saying, and when I finally get there, I'd be like, excuse me, but have you seen The Long Dark? Cause holy shit, this game, like, this freaking, it looks amazing. Like, oh my god, look at that vista. Jesus Christ, is that the Aurora Borealis? Oh my god. And like, oh my, you can see your breath out of your mouth all the time. Oh, look at the fire. Look at the fire in that cave. God damn. Let's just say I get by with the ladies. I dare say that even better than the visuals in this game is the freaking music, because like, it's such an incredible feeling when you step out of your shelter as the sun comes up and you're like beaten all to hell from the previous day, but in this one moment you're finally able to just look at the sunset and the vista and just really take it all in when this music comes on. So nice. On the flip side, you could be walking out of a cave and not realize that it just turned to night while you're in there, and there's like, it's super cold, and also there's a wolf standing between you and your shelter, and this comes on. The music in this game is so beautifully subtle and adds so much emotion and impact to something as simple as just hiking down the railway in the middle of the day while you're scavenging for supplies. It's it's pretty freaking great. And then there's the story mode. Now, don't get me wrong. The whole objective-based story mode in the open world while surviving, it's actually really cool. And you know, the characters are really interesting and all that stuff. It can just be a little bit silly at times.
It's been a while, I know.
Yeah. Years. I haven't heard from you since...
I know. There's an isolated community in the northern part of Great Bear. Someone there is very sick.
Great Bear? There's nothing there anymore. Not since...
I know.
Astrid. You can't bring him back.
This isn't about that.
I know how hard it's been.
No. You don't know, Mackenzie. You don't know anything.
The writing is kind of meh. You know, like the two main characters are just who talks like this? Hey, sorry, we're closed for... Hugh, I haven't seen you in years, not since...
I know it's been years. But don't you dare actually state exactly what happened in the past. Otherwise the audience might figure out too early.
But what if I need to constantly remind us about the past, even though we were both there and know exactly what happened? We need to talk about the guy that...
I'll just keep interrupting you before you can fully state any details. But in the meantime, just make sure you keep your statements as vague and with as little actual meaning as possible. It's better for everyone that way.
But can the audience truly care if they have no idea what's going on or what we're even talking about? I mean, our dialogue isn't even that catching. I just want to remind you that we're talking about an event in our past that happened to a guy where he just like
we'll just have to see.
Yeah, but the story itself is actually kind of interesting. Like, you know, there's a lot of history and lore to uncover about the Great Bear Island region, as well as all the characters within it, and probably about Mackenzie and Astrid if they ever decide to state any details. But it's actually a really cool addition to the game, and a really fantastic starting point for newcomers, because a lot of the missions and quests really force you to learn the game mechanics, and at the same time they don't baby you through it, and they're actually really quite challenging, which I guess is par for the course in this game. So for conclusion, I guess, The Long Dark managed to accomplish something that I previously thought was impossible, which is to actually be a part of the game genre that you say you're in. But even more than that, it accomplishes this task incredibly well. And The Long Dark is such a rewarding experience, and it's so much fun to play, and I highly recommend anyone who even might be remotely interested in this game to go out and buy it. You know, finally an early access game that not only, one, like, fully released in the first place, but two, managed to actually be worth it. Looking at you, Daisy. So, yeah, that was kind of, I really appreciate you watching the video. I worked hard on it. Yeah.